Hey, good afternoon traders. This is Trader Tim from over at eminimind.com doing a trade recap video for the 6th of May 2021. Before we get into the week's trades, I just wanted to touch on the larger picture here. As you can see, the ES pretty much moving sideways over the last couple of weeks. A nice leg up, but just hanging out right at this minus 61.8, sort of a secondary target. You can really see that on the hourly chart, just kind of moving sideways. A little bit of some higher lows here, some lower highs, potential triangle, but not a lot of sustained movement, as well as like you got these tails. So intraday, moving down and then rallying in the second half of the day. So pretty balanced throughout the day. You can see right now our breadth and advanced decline line is pretty flat. So that's also um, indicative of the, we're kind of sitting right where we opened. So wanted to touch on the NASDAQ real quick. If we draw up, you can see how we broke the swing low here over where we're currently at. So we had this retracement long, and that went up to its negative 61.8. So then I drew from highs to highs like this, came back to the 50%, and then we made this double top and broke the swing low. And so typically what I like to do here is just draw the full halfway back. So rather than come in here and try to like, okay, I'm going to take this swing low to high, and then if we break the 61.8, then you got to go another next swing low to high. I would just rather come all the way halfway back, know that, okay, the full halfway back is down here. Here's our failure point. And then in order to get there, you can go ahead. I like when we come and bounce up at the first halfway back short. So see how that target kind of lines up with the long. So even though we're in the context of an uptrend, the temporary downtrend is playable. So looking at the 334 area for a potential hedge. So I had a SPY hedge on. That one I took off earlier in the week. You can see we kind of came down to the top of the channel and then found some support at those lows. The Q's one I left on because we broke the swing low, definitely more bearish. I have a 336 on. So if we close super bullish today, we got about an hour left. If we rally into the close, I would consider closing it out. But with this halfway back short above us, even if it's just a day or two of rally and then we roll over, we could see some lower a lower move here on the Qs, and then we have some support here. Um, Otherwise, if we rally and just go right through this resistance level pretty easily, then we should be able to return and see some pretty significant new highs yet again. So it's a little bit of a interesting environment just because any news seems to make the market go up. So if you look at the daily ES chart, you can see how far we are off of the trend line. Big hole here, which is why I initially put on the hedge. So I'll leave that Q1 on for now, and then if we do go lower, we'll be covered. So let's dive into the intraday stuff here. I'll just go back to Tuesday. Didn't have anything on Monday. Tuesday, the 4th. So 4th was in the, we did the Tuesday live session. And if we go to the morning, it's been pretty light, as you can see by the daily chart. That sideways action has made for a pretty quiet intraday trade. So the first one I had on Tuesday was a little bit of counter trend long here. We broke the swing high and we had a low tick at lows, and you can see that one did not go. But when you have a counter trend early in the day like that, where you have a low tick that lines up with lows, and you get a little bit of a rally and then you roll over, that is a good sign that we are going to trend the rest of the morning. And you can see, or at least the rest of the morning, you can see here's Tuesday's candle. The sell-off took us down and then we rallied into the close. So rather than continue to take counter trend longs throughout the rest of the morning, trying to catch a falling knife, don't take any more counter trends if the first one fails like that after a low ticket low. So you'll end up getting a low tick, and then 30 seconds later you get a new low. And if you try to continue taking counter trend trades, you just end up with a bunch of stop outs. So luckily I was able to avoid more stop outs on the day there. We had a bit of a kind of a bear flag here with this little bit of a channel, and that was actually the same thing that we saw today. So this upward channel um, made for a nice flag. This was the larger halfway back that we had resistance at, and so the next one I drew up, or next one I took rather, was here. And this one came one tick away from my stop, but it ended up rolling over nicely. So to trail my stop, 46 was the entry. Trailing my stop by drawing the next retracement, and then from there just trailing each swing high. And then going back after the session was over, uh, what I should have done, so this is where I had my stop up here above the swing high. And what I should have done, because the distance from here, 42.50, down to a 35 and a quarter, we're talking about a little over 6 points. I really should have either come in and drawn the next 61.8 or switched to trailing each candle's high. I left my stop up here, and 6 points is that point where I want to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop. And so rather than leaving it up here at 42, what was it? It was like 42.75. I really should have tightened it a little bit. So that was just my own personal critique reviewing the day. So just those two for Tuesday. Wednesday, also kind of blah. Let's go to the 5th. And this one also happened to be a low ticket lows right at just after the top of the hour. And so I drew it up like this. You could have drawn it here, but it happened so quick, that little one candle drop, that I ended up using this as my anchor point. Took a little bit of heat. You can see it ended up being real sloppy. So one thing that I like to do, so this one did not make it to a 3-point first target. So rather than let it hang up here and then roll over and come all the way back and stop me out, I prefer to move my stop to break even. When you break this swing high, the anchor point high, the anchor point just being where you have your drawing attached to. So, and you can see if I draw the next retracement, the 61.8 lines up with the 50%, which is the entry point. So that's how I get to moving it to break even. So I like doing that to just prevent having a situation like this where it didn't quite make it to the first target. And when they retest like this, most of the time they don't, then continue on. When it's this sloppy, I mean, you can just see we just kind of chop sideways, went a little bit lower, and then just hovering around this 41.60 area, like a 57 to 60. So just in protecting myself, moving the stop to break even there is a nice way to combat that when things just get a whole lot of slop. And so that was all I really had on Wednesday. Didn't really see much more than that. Today then, so today ended up being pretty similar to Tuesday, where we had a larger halfway back like this. We came right to the 50%, and then I drew the opposing long like this. So I didn't take this. I waited till we broke the 61.8 down here. And so this is the bottom, this is the low of the day at this point. So knowing that, if I draw the retracement up like that, knowing that the distance between the 50 and the low of the day was enough for a first target, I felt like, okay, we're in this sort of bear flag, and we have the potential to continue down. And we were just kind of just below, or just about to break yesterday's low. So thought it had some potential to go lower, and we just kind of followed the suit from the whole week and just came down. I ended up just moving the stop to break even, and then we just chopped around a little bit before rolling over. But I'm not really willing to let it go trade down to 55 and then go against me 7 points before seeing it go lower. So there was that one, and then right after top of the hour here. So we had a low ticket lows and then broke lows. So just like Tuesday, now I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to be trying to go counter trend here. Just want to take continuations to the downside. The first one that sort of straddles, this is the bottom of the first 30-minute range where my anchor point's above it and then my anchor point's below it. That happened to be right at the top of the hour. So with some news coming out, didn't take that one. I went into taking the next one here, and then that went down, got a first target, and then some. Just trailed the next 61.8 here. So 3 points on the first target, 1 point on the so for the first half, 1 point for the second half. So if you're um, dividing that down from however many contracts, you get down to 2 points. You're got four. If you get down to 2 contracts, you're up 4 points on that one, and then scratch in the first one. So pretty quiet week so far. Kind of been the tone for the last couple of them. But with those hedges on, made some money there. I've been converting a lot of my Bitcoin over the last couple of months to Ethereum. I know a lot of folks have done the same. That's doing quite well. So not a ton on the intraday front, but some of the crypto stuff has definitely made things exciting. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments below. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you all soon.